Okay, welcome to Introduction to Java Programming by Y. Daniel Yang, 8th edition. Chapter 5, Methods. Listing number 1. Write a program that prompts the user to enter two integers and returns the highest value. Program should invoke a method called max. Okay, so to start, since I'm gonna prompt the user to enter integers, I'm gonna need to import scanner. So import package java dot util dot scanner. Right, then initialize a scanner object. So scanner, name it input equal new scanner system dot in. And of course, at the end of my program, I should do input dot close. Now, the program wants me to have a method called max, which takes in two integer values and returns the highest value. So, when creating a method, first I should create a method that's contained in my main class. So between the opening and closing curly braces, the main, and after the main method. Of course, it can be inside. This would provoke an error, so it should be right after this method. So let me create a method by writing public static, and here the following static should be the method's return type. So since it's returning an integer, it should be of type int, and the method name is max. So max. So this is how my method is created. First, I start with the public keyword, which is also the modifier, uh, telling the system that my method is public, followed by static. After that, the type of my method, or what my method should return. In that case, my method returns an integer value, and it's followed by the name of my method. I can name it however I want, but for this exercise, I'm gonna name it max. Now, between those two parentheses should be the what the arguments of my method should be. So in this exercise, my method is required to take in two integer values. So in that case, I deploy my first argument, so nb1 as an integer. After that, separated by a comma, another integer, name it nb2. So what do I want this method to do? I want it to compare these two values and return the highest value. And I can do that simply by implementing an if statement within the method. So if nb1 is more than nb2, to allow this method to return the value nb1, I simply use the keyword return nb1. And if this condition was false, so else return nb2. That's it. So my method max takes in two integer values, nb1, I name them as nb1 and nb2. If nb1 was more than nb2, nb1 is returned, else and b2 is returned. So in my main method, first I have to prompt the user, so prompting the user to enter two integer values. System.out.print enter two integer values, like that. So in here I am going to deploy two integer values. I'll name them x and y. Let me comment on this. So for the scanner, this is the scanner reference to gather input from the user. And in here, integer variables with values given by the user, or to be given by the user. Alright, so first thing is prompting the user to enter two integer values. So after printing enter two integer values, x, I'm gonna set it equal to input dot next int, and after that y is equal to input dot next int. So I write down two integer values, separate them by a space. The first integer value would be assigned to x, and the second would be assigned to y. After that, calling the method max and giving it the values of x and y. So by calling this method, I can simply write max x and y. But there's a problem here. The method max returns an integer value. So if I just call this method and give it two integer values, it would return a value, but this value wouldn't be saved in a variable so that I would display it later. So to solve this, I can deploy or declare another integer value, call it result, and comment it as maximum value. And over here, I say result and set it equal to max of x and y. Now I want to display it, so commenting, displaying the final result. So now I can print. Let me do a line break. So another system.out.print the maximum value is plus result. And let me add a point at the end. Alright, so now if I run it, enter two integer values, so 3 and 6. The maximum value is 6. Pretty simple. As long as I enter two integers separated by a space. So like that, 24 would be assigned to x and 76 would be assigned to y. Whereas if I type three integers separated by a space, There wouldn't be an error, but the system would just take the first two numbers. So like if I type two integers separated by a space where the third integer is more than these two numbers, the system would only take the first two values and return the maximum of these two values. Pretty simple.